Hey everybody, Craig Hester here with R2AWatches.com, and today the Pramzius Watch Company. We have a very special show today. We are going to do the first deep dive into the Iron Wolf, the new watch in development by the Pramzius Watch Company, our own in-house brand. If you are watching this on YouTube, be sure and hit like and subscribe. If you're watching this on Facebook, you want to join the closed group on Facebook, Vostok Europe Timepieces. It is the home of so many fans of our watches and all the watches that we carry at R2AWatches.com who share wrist shots and all their excitement about the different watches that they have in their collection, and it's a great place to be if you want to learn more about the watches at R2AWatches.com. As I said, today we are talking about the Iron Wolf. That is the newest watch in development from the Pramzius Watch Company. Pramzius is our own brand. We started it about 3 years ago. We are now actually in development on our third watch. We launched successfully with our first watch, which was the Trans-Siberian, which was based on an old Russian pocket watch. It was designed to be worn as a watch on the wrist, a pocket watch for the wrist, but could also be used. It came with a fob, so you could use it as a pocket watch. It also came with this really cool wooden stand, so you could have it as a desk clock. So it had 3 potential options. And then the hugely successful, and we want to say thank you to everybody who made it so, Berlin Wall. Follow the Berlin Wall watch, which has actual pieces of the Berlin Wall and the crown, and that's a whole other story. But that watch is actually still available at R2AWatches.com, although we don't have many left. They're just about all gone. And then we decided to launch into the Iron Wolf, which was based on a story we fell in love with many years ago, and had always wanted to do some kind of watch around the theme of the Iron Wolf. Now, before I get into all the mystical and modern military might, there's some alliteration for you, that are tied into the inspiration of this watch, I'm going to give you a quick tour of the 5 styles that are available and the specs of the watch. Then we'll get into more about the actual inspiration. For those of you who don't know, Pramzius, our own brand, is named for the Baltic ruler of time, which was from the pantheon of Baltic gods, which they had just like the Romans had gods and the Greeks had gods during that time period. There was a pantheon of Baltic gods, and Pramzius is actually inspired with a slight spelling change of the name of that god. And we felt like that was a good fit for us because we've been importing watches for many, many years from Eastern Europe and Russia, and we actually do our best to make sure that every watch we build with Pramzius has at least some connection to one of the countries that border the Baltic Sea. So let me give you, this is our first, by the way, military timepiece. And those of you who have seen our existing Pramzius watches know that this is quite different. We do not try to build our watches with a specific style DNA. We make every watch, we want every watch to be an event, and we start completely from scratch and build watches that look actually quite different from one another. So let me quickly give you the specs on this. First, I'm going to go through the 5 dials that are available. This is a true carbon fiber dial, and this is with the brushed black PVD plating. Then we have 2 versions of the watch with a full lume dial, and it's also a true military sandwich dial, so there are 2 dials there. These 2 dials are fully luminous, so that gives you a full lume option, and you're going to see here that there are 2 movement options. 2 movement options, easy for me to say. The 82S7, which is the Miyota open heart automatic mechanical, and then the 6S21, which is the Miyota quartz chronograph. And then the other 2 options, and you're going to go, wait, I thought this was a military watch. Well, it is, but we're hearkening back. For those of you who've been fans of what we've been doing for many, many years, you are familiar with the brand Softra, which we had out. Literally 1 execution was built of the brand Softra, and then we moved on to Pramzius as our next brand. But one of the things about Softra was we came up with the idea of military meets elegant, so that you could have a true military watch, but it also could be something when you want to wear your dress blues, or you just want to have something that you can wear out on a night on the town, but it still has those military aspects that you like. And one of the things that we do that with is mother of pearl. This is smoke mother of pearl. I just love the name in and of itself, smoke mother of pearl. That just to me is so evocative of everything that is the Iron Wolf and what it's all about. And again, this has both executions. It has the open heart automatic and the 6S21 chronograph. So those are the 5 dials. Now I'm going to take let's use the open heart the open heart automatic with the full lume dial to give you a quick rundown of the specs of the watch. It is a 44 millimeter timepiece that puts it in kind of that Goldilocks place. It is not a big watch. It's not a small watch. It is kind of one of those that could fit pretty much anybody interested. If you like smaller watches, you can stretch up to a 44. If you like larger watches, a 44 is still certainly acceptable. In fact, I will tell you, one of the toughest design decisions that we make when we start building watches is what sizes it's going to be, because it's hard to please everybody, if not impossible. These days, there's a group of people who love smaller watches and want to go back more to the traditional sizes, and there's guys, particularly in our base of customers, who really still love very big watches. We went with 44 on this. We originally had planned to have this be a 46 millimeter timepiece, but we found as we brought all the components together, they just didn't fit right. It looked kind of clunky. But when we went to the 44 millimeter size, everything just flowed together. This watch has a really, really sweet flow in terms of the total aesthetic of the watch. It is a sapphire crystal. It is 10 ATM. We make no pretense that this is a dive watch, but it is 10 ATM is certainly sufficient for a military grade timepiece. It has 120 click unidirectional rotating bezel for elapsed time function in case you did want to use it in some kind of a circumstance. And of course, you can use a unidirectional rotating bezel for elapsed time function for things other than diving. It's not like the only purpose of them is for diving. Okay, in terms of the case back, if it is the chronograph movement, it is a solid case back, and I'm going to explain what that really cool design is right there a little bit later in the presentation. Again, I'm going through every aspect of the Iron Wolf in this presentation. If you are getting the automatic with the open heart, you're going to get sapphire crystal on the back as well. You're going to get the imagery there as well, where it says inspired by the legend of the Iron Wolf. Surgical grade stainless steel, of course. We wouldn't use anything less than surgical grade. It is 12 millimeters thick. Again, not an oversized watch. The bracelet is a solid. Every single link is 100% solid. There are no folded links in here, including the end links. It has your standard safety clasp for sport, because of course this is a military grade timepiece, and it gives you the micro adjustments. So those are the basic specs of the watch. We can go into more details later if I left anything out, but that gives you a basic idea of what the watch is all about. Now, I want to get back to the inspiration. As I mentioned earlier, and I am going to talk about this really cool packaging and these great leather straps you see here. I will get to that. As I mentioned earlier, for Pramzius, which is named for the Baltic god of time, we want, or at least are going to try to have, every inspiration that the watches are tied to be tied to one of the 9 countries that happens to border the Baltic Sea. In this case, one of them is Lithuania. If you've been following us for years, you know we've been doing business in Lithuania with our brothers and sisters there for many years, and that is actually how we came upon this really cool story of the Iron Wolf. And we fell in love with this great mythology around this story and said many, many years ago that we wanted to build a watch that the inspiration would start with the Iron Wolf. Also, beyond the Iron Wolf story from Lithuania, this watch is the official watch of the Wolf fighting vehicle, which is the infantry fighting vehicle for Lithuania's ground forces. So there are actually 2 things at play, and that's part of why it became a military watch. But there is a military, to a degree, feel to the history of the Iron Wolf. So I'm going to give you probably the shortest version of that story you'll ever hear. Grand Duke Geteminese, roughly 720 years ago. That's why we have this at a 720 limited edition. We don't know exactly what year this happened, but roughly 720 years ago, he stopped by the Vilna River after a successful day of hunting, and he fell into a deep sleep. During that sleep, he had a dream of a great iron wolf who was standing on top of a hill, and he was baying with the strength of 100 wolves. And he woke and he thought about this dream, and it had such an impact on him. He went to his priest and he asked him to tell him what the dream meant. And the priest interpreted this to mean that Geteminese would found a great city along the Vilna River. He would build a great castle there, and he would become the ruler of what would become the Lithuanian lands. And that is where the original story of the Iron Wolf comes from. And now I mentioned the etching on the case back. Not surprisingly, such an amazingly cool story, is part of all of Lithuanian lore And it is a big symbol in Lithuania. In fact, if you're there and you're shopping around, there's T-shirts everywhere with the Iron Wolf on it, little figurines of the Iron Wolf. It is ingrained into Lithuanian culture. We created our own custom artwork that was inspired by the standard bearer artwork that Lithuania uses to display the image of the Iron Wolf. This is our own custom artwork on the back, and it does say in there, inspired by the legend of the Iron Wolf. And that is etched on the glass on the automatic version, and it is etched on the stainless steel in the chronograph version. And I apologize, it's hard with the bracelets on here to get the really good close-up of the case backs, but you get the idea here as I'm getting in there. So you've got a twofold inspiration going on here. You've got the ancient mythology of the Iron Wolf, which is tied to the rich history that is Lithuania. By the way, if you haven't been to Vilnius, Lithuania, it is a beautiful town. I've been there many times now. I love that city. It is not a place that is often thought of when you think of the standard and common places to go in Europe. But I'm telling you, you will have a wonderful time if you visit Vilnius. I have always enjoyed every time I went there. It's not that expensive. It has all the things that other great European cities offer, but not as crowded, not as expensive. You should definitely go. Anyway, enough of a commercial for Vilnius, Lithuania there. And then you have the modern inspiration, which is the wolf fighting vehicle. In fact, this Vilkas, which means wolf in Lithuanian, this logo that's on the dial, that is the actual logo of the wolf fighting vehicle, which is the official infantry fighting vehicle for Lithuania's NATO ground forces Europe. Now, the other key aspect of that is that we made this into a military watch because of that. Now, again, I feel like with, you're talking about Grand Duke Geteminese and he's founding a city, there's, kind of a military tie to that as well. But really the military aspect of this has more got to do with the fighting vehicle. And if you look at a lot of the design touches that we put in here, the subdials are designed to be like the sights from a gun. We have a sight on the second hand, on the sweep second hand for the chronograph. Same sights function look, and they're not functional, except for they spin, but they're not sights, but the same look is on the automatic open heart mechanical side. The crown is designed to look like a gun turret. And one of the touches that we really like, which shows the best really on this on the carbon fiber version, is that the indicators on the unidirectional rotating bezel are cut to look like the teeth of the wolf. So there's a lot of little things that went into the design elements of this that tie back to both the original inspiration of the Iron Wolf legend and the Lithuanian infantry fighting vehicle. Now, what comes with the package when you get the whole package? First of all, I want to give a quick shout out to those of you who have already pre-ordered, and I want to say a big thank you because I know you ordered a while back and you're waiting for this watch to get into production, and we're moving as quickly as we can. Those original people, you're going to get something extra special from us when the time comes to thank you for your patience as we've been putting together the plan to get the watch actually produced, and we're hoping to start production very soon. So I want to throw that out there. I think I mentioned earlier, but if I didn't, I want to mention again Rich Flores with the Watch Bratva and the great photos he took of the watches. He's got a review coming up. We've got a review coming up in Micro Brand Watch World, and we're also going to be at Microlux in Chicago, and they're going to be doing a review. I've been prattling on so long about the watch now in this show, I don't remember if I said that already, but I wanted to definitely share that. And a big thanks to everybody at Vostok Europe Timepieces who've been so supportive as we've developed this watch, and their feedback and so forth. It's just been awesome. So when you get the watch, it's going to come with, one of the things we decided is that the package in this watch is going to include the bracelet. We're not making the bracelet an upsell. So the main package is going to come with the bracelet. It's also going to come with a matching NATO. I don't have every single one here, but it's a matching color NATO to go with the watch that is in with the camouflage on the NATO. And then it's going to come with one of these amazing leather straps, handmade by Konstantin Huzar, the strap lord himself. And let me tell you, folks, as he would say, yes, they are delicious. These are handmade straps. You're going to get to pick one to go with the watch. Now, we did them in two styles. One where this is a canvas upper on top of the leather here. One where the art is a little more subtle. We just got the head of the wolf from the logo and Vilcus on one side, and we're calling that the infantry version of the leather strap. And then the other version of the bund leather strap, we've got Vilcus fully spelled out. The head of the wolf is a little bigger, and then we have this image of an infantry soldier on the other side, and we're calling this the infantry version. So you get to pick one of those, and you could buy the additional one, by the way, at a very affordable price, because if you've ever gotten a custom strap from Konstantin Huzar, by the way, custom handmade straps, you know that they run $100 and up. But we're offering the second one at a very affordable price. And then they're all going to come in this really, really cool packaging. We are so proud of the packaging. By the way, the packaging on this, one of the things that took us a long time, it's not going to fit in that screen. One of the things that took us one of the longest to put together in terms of what we wanted with this entire package for the Iron Wolf is we really had an idea in our head of what the packaging needed to be like. My thought, everybody's thought here, was we wanted something that would look like a soldier could just toss it into their duffel bag and it would be a part of their equipment. So this is a soft-sided, canvas-bound, suede leather interior, double watch holder case that's going to come with the watch, with the camouflage on the canvas, easy open with the zip in the front. Additional straps will be here, and then it will come with the watch on one side and your additional strap on the other. But it's a great, great piece of packaging if you want to use it as a portable watch carrier, a travel pack. It's a great travel box to carry 2 watches. And I like the fact that it's soft side, so it'll fit in your duffel or your carry-on so easily. So we love the packaging on this. One other little touch that we added, because this is a military watch, instead of doing the regular hang tag in paper, we're actually doing the hang tag as a dog tag, and on there it says name, Wolf, iron, type, military, assignment, Wolf, IFV for infantry fighting vehicle, unit, Pramzius, and then it has the SKU number of the watch. So there's a lot of little great touches in this watch. The dial work is fantastic. I do want to point out that all of these are prototypes. So if you saw some scratches or some imperfections on there, that's because these are actual prototypes. One thing I didn't mention, I need to point out, we are total loom nuts at Pramzius. Our loom is off the hook. We use 15 individual silk screen layers of loom, and our watches truly light up the night with our super, and we only use Swiss made true super luminova in our watches, and obviously the loom is also on the unidirectional rotating bezel. I could talk all day about this watch. I love the Iron Wolf. Again, we are getting close to starting production. If you want to get the best pre-order price, you need to reach out to us right away, because we're going to be closing off those pre-orders very, very soon. So that is the Pramzius Iron Wolf, coming in late 2019, maybe early 2020. The latest watch in development from the Pramzius Watch Company, our own brand at r2awatches.com. We thank you. We know this has been a long video, and we appreciate you taking the time. And until next time, keep watching.